That's us back for a wee hiatus.
With a week off.
Aye, a wee.
Getting tattoos and that.
Aye. I was away to Spain, went a wee jump to Tenerife for the family. 4 days. First 3 days were magic. Last day was absolutely hammering it down with rain.
And then ready to come home.
Proper thunder and lightning. And we're joined by Danny Gray.
Hello. A man not on social media.
No, he certainly isn't.
So only just found out this podcast existed.
I think I'm the last person to be asked on it. The forklift driver across for the gym was on it before me, I think.
Danny's one of the guys for higher level. His background is mixed martial arts. He started how long ago?
First met James Doolan 22 years ago.
Still pals,
Still pals, only had one gym. And had an MMA fight, I think, 21 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what was your MMA record?
Records are for DJs, mate. Shocking is the answer.
But yeah, you fought
semi-pro.
You fought some of the top guys,
and then pro. I fought a couple of good guys, mate, like the local good guys, domestic good guys. But my semi-pro record was better than my pro. I think I actually ended up negative with pro or 2-2 pro. But it
was a different sport back then, though.
It was, mate. It was
compared to now, completely different.
Am I right in saying when you used to train, you and James and the Grip House guys, you used to have to set up the gym every single day?
When I first met James, it was like a Tuesday was in one town hall, a Thursday was in a different town hall, and a Sunday was in a different town hall again. And only one of the town halls had mats. So like when you went on to, I think it was like the Sunday class was at one hall. That was all stand-up stuff on a wooden floor because there's no mats.
If you get put in your ass, it's a stadium.
Flung a head kick and you decked it. You were on it like a varnished wooden floor.
Wild.
And again, like it's only 3 nights a week. Nobody was full-time.
No.
There was nobody doing this every day.
Oh, not at all. The whole chat of training twice a day and stuff was kind of unheard of. James used to train really hard, like on his own. But we all used to go and do our own conditioning and stuff. Or James and I used to go and run Tintle Hill. Don't know if you've heard of that over near Lanark. Used to run that for conditioning and stuff. But just a different sport.
In comparison,
board shorts and mohawks. That's what it was. Fighting in board shorts.
How did you get your name?
Unlike most people, I gave myself my nickname.
You just were like,
I'm pretty sure one of my pals that didn't fight was like used to always say, "Oh, it's boom time," like as in like when something was happening or like you got a hold of you and carrying on. So I think I just adopted that. I remember being in the grip and I think I had somebody's back on the feet, like a Gable grip kid, and I was going to suplex him and I was like shouting, "It's boom time!" And then I just kind of stuck for there, I guess.
We were in where was it we were fighting? Was it London? And I gave you a shout out.
You did, aye. And after the win,
Aye, it was.
Aye, just after you called out Jemayev at the same time. Remember that?
Aye, it didn't work out well for me.
Jemayev. And then you did get a wee boom time shout out, which was cool.
You've done a fair bit of travelling with old UFC as well, haven't you?
Done loads. I've been very fortunate. I've been really lucky. I've been everywhere. And
did you go to EFC as well?
I went to Johannesburg, EFC with Callum Urey, aye.
Mm-hmm.
I've done Beirut with Graham Turner. Cage Warriors had random.
Why was it there?
I think there was a lot of money getting put in it from the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to Glasgow Airport and Graham's like cutting weight. And the coppers stop us at the wee desk. And they're like, "Where he's off to, boys?"
Beirut.
Beirut. And they're like, "Nah, don't get wide, like where he's gone." I'm like, "We're genuinely going to Beirut, mate, via London." So that Graham's his hood up, he's all gaunt looking, and picked up from the airport in Beirut, and so Beirut, America, Brazil now, obviously with yourself, which was amazing.
Did you do the Tough House as well? Were you out?
I went to Vegas with Martin Delaney.
Mm-hmm.
That was intense. That was a weird setup.
Because they're not allowed out, are they?
No, I arrived in the middle of the night and the deal was I was going to stay with Martin. I had nowhere to stay really. And I was phoning him frantically and couldn't get him. And eventually
they take your phones, don't they?
They took his phone off him, his wallet and his room card. So I think the producer of the show had all the phones. He basically phoned me. I was like, "I'm staying with Martin." He's like, "Nah, Martin's not allowed to see anybody." And I'm like, "Oh, I've got nowhere to stay." And he's like, "Well, you can stay this night and then that's you." So that was a strange experience.
That's wild.
That was a weird one because Del was like in a fight where he should have won it, and then he had a business and all that back home, and basically after he's like, I didn't want to win that fight because I knew it was going to mean that I was stuck in that house.
And he was staying away again.
Aye, like he was already like, this is shit.
Because this is going back to when you used to have to fight to get into the house, am I right?
Aye, so I think originally the Ultimate Fighter was like, they already knew who they wanted in, and then they brought this thing in where did they bring 32 down to 16? And Martin was on one of the episodes. McGregor and Uriah Faber were the coaches on it, which is pretty cool.
Aye, really.
Saul Rogers was on it.
Is that where you became friends with Uriah?
No, we'd met at a show in Sweden called Superior Challenge. I'd just come off the loss of getting beat by Bobby McVitie at SFC. And I was feeling a bit sorry for myself, and my ankle was wrecked, and James was like, I'll pay for you to come over to Sweden. It was me, Paul and James. And then we got talking to this American guy, Casey Uscola, who was on the Ultimate Fighter as well, and it turns out he trains with Uriah. So we met him in Stockholm.
It's cool.
And just hung out with him. I mean, back then he was
Hot property,
he
wasn't
was so famous, it was unreal. There's a good you know that way where James doesn't like, he's the same no matter who he meets. We went out for food after James made weight, and we talked. They came with us. James ate loads of Thai food, just scranning it. Again, back in the day, there was none of this reconstitution stuff.
You just
and the
ate.
water. You just ate. Like,
Didn't you know?
Nah,
It wasn't a thing.
it's quite amateurish, really, compared to what you guys are doing. So we're eating the food, the Thai food, lovely, and we're walking up the street, and Uriah Faber had these custom-made K-Swiss trainers. He was like a major shareholder at one point, and they had the American flag on them. So we're walking up Stockholm Main Street, and James just stops, puts his hands on his knees, and just spews up all of that Thai food all over the pavement, and like partially on Uriah's trainers. So that's where I first met him, and I've met him a few times over the years as well. Vegas being the second time. A cool wee guy.
Aye, that's pretty cool.
He's a cool wee guy.
Cool wee guy.
Yeah,
He's a wee guy.
Man, he's sorry, but he's solid, man.
And you have contact with him, you phone him, and
I went through a stage, and the guys will tell you as well, I went through a stage I probably phoned him too much, especially when I was drunk.
I'm pals with Uriah Faber. No, you're not.
Basically, aye. And at the Ultimate Fighter, when I was talking to him at the desk with Dana and Conor McGregor, and Uriah was like to Conor, hey Conor, like, you should give Danny your phone number, he'll give you a few calls middle of the night type of thing. So I've obviously pissed him off calling him at some point.
has he blocked you?
Nah, he's not blocked me. When you fought in Brazil, remember the first time you were over there and I came in Rio, I messaged him to say, oh, you flying into Rio, I'm here just now, and he did get back to me, and I met him in the hotel lobby. It was good to see him and all that. So but I think you underestimate how busy these guys are. I think he bought his whole street. See, when he started making money, he bought like his whole street, and basically Team Alpha Male rent a house off of him and go and train at the gym. But pretty much all the house he's in it's not a big street, but he's got like 10 houses in one street. Aye.
I was lucky enough to go to the basketball game when I first went to America. It was Sacramento, and me and him ended up at the Kings game. It was the first basketball game I'd went to, which was kind of cool as well. I'm sure I've got a picture on my social media somewhere. But I remember it.
But I like at your fucking hip.
He's tiny. He's a wee short ass.
Totally.
So we end up going to Team Alpha Male. He's like, oh, come and get some training in. And at this point, I think Kobe Garbrandt was fighting for the title.
Yeah.
And I remember getting in, and him and all his team were hitting pads, and it was very secretive. And he came over to me, he's like, where are you from? I was like, Scotland. And then they get really defensive, and we're like,
it was this Cody done that?
aye, and the whole team were like getting a bit shitty with us. Like, whoa, we're just here to fight in the Sacramento card in a few days, and we're looking to get some training in. And then it's crazy just sharing the mat with guys like Clay Weeder and that. Like, just
he's a legend.
Same again, tiny as well. I felt like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings, when he's in the Shire, and he's just like an extra 2 foot bigger than everybody. They're all tiny. They're all
Team Alpha
tiny
Male
guys.
are the wee fellas.
Aye.
All the wee guys.
They've produced some amount of guys, though, haven't they?
Aye, worst places to train as well.
Oh,
in California, just
Well,
crazy.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but I'd never been to like America, and the first fight I'd got was in California, and they went California November time. I was like, brilliant. What would you pack to go to California in November time?
Shorts and t-shirts.
I'm guessing you're going to say the opposite and the same
Yep.
reason.
I packed shorts, t-shirt. You know, I'm ready to fucking go
can't-
Is it
boarding.
cold, like?
Go boarding. I mate, pissed down the whole time we were there. It was horrible. It was Sacramento, straight up the north of like
California, yeah.
You just don't realise, like you just think
Imagine it'll be
California.
tropical,
Aye,
eh?
California.
100%, aye.
I'm going to be jumping about with the thongs on, you know, my board shorts. I'm going to be even.
Oh, singing it.
I just go skateboarding, you know, get some sweet nar.
You skateboard, right? Don't you?
Aye, I'm a bit of a loser at
I bet I loser.
that. Aye.
I cannot skateboard. I was into rollerblading, though. I can't rollerblading.
Were you? Did you hit the 90s rollerblading when Mighty Ducks came out?
I loved it in Flying V.
Aye, because I see when the Mighty Ducks came out in the 90s, I was
Oh,
like,
is it?
whoa.
I don't know what this is.
You don't know? So,
No, I don't know.
What age,
Disney
are you
stuff.
young? What age are you?
Me, I'm 36.
I'm probably
I'm
37.
39.
Mighty Ducks were huge.
Aye, you
Mighty Ducks.
I know who the Mighty Ducks are, but I didn't know, like,
Flying
you
V.
are into the intricacies and away buying rollerblades and skateboards.
I remember getting a hockey stick and a hockey ball, so for street hockey.
Aye, yeah.
And we would there was maybe about 3 or 4 guys in the street who had the setup for it. We didn't know
No,
what to do.
I played it.
We would just fucking smash that ball, no rules or
You
nothing.
got to play football at my bit, and that was it.
No, we played,
It was
aye.
shite when I stayed.
I always remember Mighty Ducks, the goalkeeper was...
Goldberg.
He was fat, quite heavy, wasn't he? And I always
He ended up
remember
on the kit. He ended up taking smack.
what, in real
In
life?
real life?
Aye,
Aye,
aye.
obviously,
On the
not.
Mighty Ducks series or something.
Not
I,
good, not kids film.
I took Mighty Ducks a different direction there.
I just always remember the other coach saying to him, slagging him off for being in goals, and then being like, if that was a cheeseburger, I bet you'd save it. And I'm like, still good batter in it.
I used to like Mighty Ducks. I didn't know it was Disney. Disney bought the franchise. Disney had bought
Brand new, eh?
so what it was a hockey team, and they ended up buying the hockey team and rebranding it all.
Was it Emilio Estevez? Is that his name?
He was, aye. Very famous family.
A very famous what?
Family. Michael, his
Office
brother.
of Farmer.
His brother is Martin Sheen. No, that's his dad, Martin Sheen.
Aye.
His brother's Charlie Sheen.
That's right, aye.
Some good genes there in it.
They do looks, aye. I always
Obviously,
get them
'cause of-
confused. Aye.
I think he didn't want to use his dad's, like run off his dad's fame.
Why no? I would.
He's not done very many. Aye, I would as well. I do still.
Fucking right.
My dad was the best bus driver in the history of Glasgow. So
Was it?
aye, so I still it gets me a lot of aye.
If you jump on
Most
the...
famous Strathclyde bus driver ever, aye.
Was he or you just fucking ass?
I just said that.
This is like when you were saying, I'll come on the podcast. I was like, aye, neighbour.
We never know what he did.
Like,
No,
he's
he
not
was
going to
a
come.
bus, he was a bus driver. But like we didn't really know him. That's what me and my brother said, just like he's the greatest bus driver in the history of Glasgow. So I don't think he was.
And
If
then,
there's such a thing.
so you now coach jiu-jitsu at higher level.
Yep.
That's your thing.
Aye.
Gi predominantly.
Aye, he's yep.
It's an old man's game, innit?
I think there's a lot of cool stuff still coming out in the gi. Even keeping the beat in gi jiu-jitsu is still tricky. So 'cause it's changing all the time.
I know.
So many guys revolutionising it, but you know what I'm saying? They're coming out with stuff. No gi's certainly kicked on massively. It's hard to keep the beat with no gi jiu-jitsu.
Aye, that's like, there always seems to be, like every 6 months, something new comes out.
Oh,
Do
massively.
you remember the point where it was like leg locks were the thing?
Crazy.
And then everybody started defending the leg locks, and then now it's all this backside stuff, and
Crazy.
so everything just keeps changing in no-gi jiu-jitsu.
Aye, yep. And so coaching jiu-jitsu, I do like coaching in the gi. And again, it's more, this is an age-old argument, isn't it? What's better? I think you should do both, really. But I know, see if I jump in and roll with the MMA guys, no gi.
It's a different game.
That's a different game again. It's an absolute nightmare for me. Put the gi on, though, and I can at least get some stuff going. And
Is that because you're controlling the pace, though?
I think it's just there's things to hold on to. See if I would say, for example, Mark Ewan's a great example. I could get on top of Mark Ewan, no gi. See his underhook, and MMA guys are like, get back to the feet, and they do not stop. It's almost impossible to hold him down. For me, anyway. If it was in the gi, I would have more. I'm not saying it would be easy, it wouldn't be, but I would have a better chance. Just with the friction. You've got unlimited grips, really, haven't you? Like, whereas no gi, it's like when things get slippy and sweaty, it's
They're out. I noticed that when I first came there. Like, I thought I had good jiu-jitsu. And I said it in an interview recently when I was talking about Sean. I thought my jiu-jitsu was like, no, I'm good. Came to a higher level within the first 2-3 weeks. I was like, I'm at my depth here. I can't hold MD down.
that's a good thing, though, isn't it? Like,
Because you need to develop.
Yeah.
You get into a sort of point where you just do the same thing and you get away with it for so long.
We
But
were
now you-
very guilty of it.
Aye, so you come to a place like Higher Level, and the guys are, as you're saying, if you put MD on their back and no gi or gi, the guys will normally stay there. But in Higher Level, they Tuesdays and Thursdays classes are horrible, man. They just and you're
Aye.
if you're trying to hold somebody down there and you're no developing, then they're away, and
totally.
you're 5 steps behind them, and especially guys like Mark Goon and Sean Clancy.
Mark and that, and Sean again. Then you add in the engine they've got. Like, I don't have that engine anymore for that. They're technically, I think there's like 3 types of grapplers. There's like that whole, there's out and out gi guys, which I would probably class myself as more nowadays, but still dabble no gi, can still hold my own no gi, but not so much with elite level or very good no gi guys. Like, I notice it there. And then you've got this MMA grappling style, which these boys have got down to a T. It's very much focused on getting up.
And get back on top.
When you were in
100%.
New York, did you get a role with Musi Mashimesho? What's his name?
Mike Musmechi.
That's the man.
I spoke to
Did
you
you get
about
a
this in the airport.
Unbelievable.
So this is this next wave of jiu-jitsu guys coming through.
He's people used to ask me or have asked me who's the best guy I've ever rolled with and stuff, and I had a few names to drop in. Since New York and rolling with him, it's hands down different sport.
It's
I've-
crazy.
I've-
Why?
It's
though?
unbelievable.
What's he doing differently?
I think that's what's quite cool about jiu-jitsu. I mean, you could say the same about any sport. Like, everybody knows how to play football and kick a ball about and have a shot, but then you're like, well, what was Messi doing differently?
Aye.
How do you put your finger on it?
Just-
Mikey Musumeci, I've said to the guys, not even bumming him up, but I didn't do one single offensive thing to Mikey Musumeci. Not one.
Because he's just shutting everything down.
I just didn't get going. He was just, anything he'd done, he was always attacking. And I mean, the most simple things, I just couldn't stop him from doing. And I felt good because like Kieran was there, he rolled with him. Kieran's very good, both gi and no gi, and he just murdered us.
And Kieran's got
Effortlessly.
quite like a modern jiu-jitsu style as well for no gi
he's-
too. So
Again, I think where Kieran's probably kept the beat, and he does a lot of the no-gi stuff with you guys and MMA guys, and does a lot of no-gi. I'm just not really enjoying no-gi as much anymore. I still teach it, and I still enjoy it to an extent, but not as much as I do the gi.
prefer to just coach it.
But again, it's different. Coaching jiu-jitsu is hard if you're not, like I always say, keeping the beat. Like, I wonder about these old school gyms in Scotland, like say like your Rick Youngs and all that
That won't adapt.
I'm not saying they don't want adapt, but
They might not adapt.
They might not, because I know how much effort like I put into it, and James and I talk jiu-jitsu all the time, and looking at what's coming out, and you're looking at the leaders, aren't you? You're looking at like your B team guys. You're looking at Mikey Musumeci. There's loads of cutting edge guys out there, and you're kind of watching what they're doing. And I don't think some of these gyms, I might be wrong, but I don't know how a guy like Rick Young, who must be close to, was he mid-50s to 60?
I've no idea. I don't know.
I'm just, and I'm not
But how's he
slaying him,
keeping
so I
up to
don't-
pace with it,
Aye,
you
and I
mean?
don't know. I'm just guessing. He might not be the only one. I just know that it's changed massively.
There's so much information out there as well. There's so
That's
much
it.
to be taken in all the time. Like
Aye.
you probably couldn't do it on your own. You have to talk to James about it and like, I saw this, and share ideas with him about where your classes are going to start going.
100%. And then you need to start trying stuff yourself. And James is my main training partner, really.
Well, every morning we come in and you're
We were always rolling, and if I have something I'm working on, I try it on him first. Then I get the feedback for him. Then I get the defense for him, the counter from him, and then after a few months, I've maybe got some sort of grounding to teach it, and then I can say, and by the way, I've been doing this, James has been doing that, and it's a pretty kind of decent way. But I think that whole like evolve or die thing is important in jiu-jitsu, and it's absolutely like it's vital in MMA.
Well, we've been saying it with MMA gyms, specifically in Scotland, like the MMA gyms that have refused to adapt, they are starting to fall away now. They aren't putting any guys forward. You're like, we've got Cage Warriors this Saturday. Just look where the guys all comfy. Like-
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's a thing as well where like, I'm obviously talking about James a lot, but he's the head coach. I'm a bit like this as well. Like I've kind of moved on for that. Like you don't need to be too. I don't want everybody being a version of me or being prescriptive. Like I see them all talking after the classes, you included. Some of these guys have got good fight IQs and can almost come up with some stuff on their own.
For sure.
And you don't want to be dismissive of what because you're the coach and you're a black belt and it's like, you do as I say, it's like, I'm always saying that if you get that to work on people
Go
of
for
a
it.
decent standard,
Mhm.
and who am I to tell you, do you know what I mean, that not to? So, it's changed a lot, MMA specifically.
See, when you originally started doing like mixed martial arts, where were you getting all your information from? Books? Because now they've got like these, they've got like the
1 minute breakdown on TikTok,
the
innit?
Meta,
I know.
They've got all these accesses to social media where you can watch Mikey doing
That's crazy.
setups.
I think a really good meeting was James meeting Paul McVeigh.
Mm-hmm.
James was an out and out striker. So was I. Like my first MMA fight I slipped from kneeing the guy in the clinch, and I just looked up at him and he looked down at me and he just let me get back up. None of us had an absolute clue what to do on the ground. So then James met Paul. Paul was kind of the opposite and had been doing grappling and stuff, and then they two just started bouncing off each other, and then that's kind of what led to that kind of hybrid style of training. Seminars was a big thing as well, by the way.
Mhm.
Like, if you imagine you didn't have TikTok and all these Instagram and that, and then you knew that like
Some people were secretive about stuff as well.
they were,
eh?
aye. But you get guys like see Ian Freeman and stuff. Like, I always remember like James went and done an Ian Freeman seminar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this must be 20 years ago.
I did an Ian Freeman seminar as well.
Aye.
He was like the original guy from the UK who made it to the UFC.
That's that, aye. And then you started getting a few more kind of niche grapplers, and we've always had decent striking in the UK between boxing, kickboxing, and even Thai. But it was
you always had the option to go to Thailand,
aye, it was
or over to Holland.
aye, Dutch style kind of kickboxing. But grappling's where I think we really. And then to be honest, there's another one that you'll know, like when Marcus came on the scene.
Mm-hmm. He was the guy. He was like the original black belt. I think Rick Young was one of the
Rick Young was the first Scottish
black belt, wasn't he? Him and I think it was Jude Samuel. They both got graded black belts. And I'm talking like this was
UK wise.
UK wise, like there wasn't a lot of black belts. And then Marcos came over and for some reason he ended up stuck in Ayrshire. They all places.
So random, and he was like a snowboard instructor or something like that.
He came from Brazil, then ended up in Colorado doing like his studies as like a university, that kind of stuff thing, and then ended up in Scotland teaching jiu-jitsu.
So random. We had that guy as well, interesting, Doug McMaster, out of all of us. He was the first to get his black belt, and he got it in Brazil from Ricardo de Oliva, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I remember being a white belt when Doug was a black belt.
That's crazy as well, isn't it? Like to think.
Aye, he's been a black belt all that time, which is insane. But Doug was like he off the grid and off the radar, and then he disappeared, came back, and he's basically a paediatrician. He wasn't a doctor at all. He's like
just
he
disappeared.
was working social work, doing stuff, and went and sat his medical, and now he's like a full blown doctor in London.
Do you think now that European, because of all this, so this is why European grappling's starting to take over, especially like over Americans? We're even seeing it in the UFC now. Like European grapplers are definitely, in my opinion, superior to the American ones. In the UFC specifically.
I was going to say in MMA, right, guy, because I was going to disagree with you and say...
Because you're going to just go Gordon Ryan straight away, but...
Well, they're jumping on this bandwagon, aren't they? They're calling it American Jiu-Jitsu instead of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to try and obviously wind the Brazilians up, but Americans have pushed grappling on, but you're right in terms of MMA.
Like, yes, the Wrestling Foundation is good, but they're still making these sort of... We're still seeing guys like Paddy Pimblett submitting Michael Chandler. Probably shouldn't be seeing that, but we are.
I think people forget about Paddy's like subs. I mean, like that, he went through an absolute tear, didn't he? Just
in Cage Warriors.
Subbing people.
Flying triangles.
Off the cage. He
tried on Saturday.
Subbed one of your guys back in the day. Two guys training with us. James was fighting in OMAC, I think, that same night, and we had a guy, it was either Cammy or Doogie. They were twins, ex-Marines, and he fought Paddy, and they pulled that triangle off on him. I don't think, he's either Doogie or Cammy, he'd know over this to this day. A few years ago, if you speak to him, he's still absolutely fucking raging about it.
I would be too.
I know. But I think in MMA, I mean, I need to check, but I mean, the champions-wise, how many are Americans now?
Big Craig will pull it up.
I don't think we've got any. Yeah, John Jones.
But it's quite a low number compared to what it has been previously.
I think it's just John Jones.
And wherever Bilal claims to be from.
You're right, Paul. It's just John Jones.
So I think that's quite interesting. That the premier kind of MMA promotion only has one, because for a while there the Americans were running the show. So maybe you're right, Ross.
It's like the wrestling isn't enough now. You have to be able to wrestle and submit. And I think a lot of the Americans are just still thinking like, no, I'm fit, my striking's good, and I can scramble back to my feet and I'll be fine. And it's no. They're getting caught in, well, like, Chandler would be a good example of like, I've wrestled X amount of, I don't know what he's won, but a good wrestler, good striker, and very fit. And he just gets shown up by just a wee guy for Liverpool. Do you know what I mean though? Like, who just...
Do you still watch UFC?
So. I really don't go out my way to watch it anymore. I don't really know why that is. Because whenever I do tune and I see a good fight, I still love it. I love seeing good grappling exchanges. I don't like seeing guys get knocked out anymore.
Really?
I used to love that. I remember UFC had like a UFC greatest hits and all that sort of, and it was just knockout after knockout, and you're like, you're a wee guy, and you're like, this is brilliant. You're like,
were you in the PI when we were watching that?
No.
They have it in the...
I think it was me and you. They had the side room next to the shop.
It's normally the pool. Like, see me you're in watching, like in the pool, they just have knockout after knockout, and you're like, for fuck's sake.
And you've got guys who are fighting like tomorrow, sitting there and they're like, fuck.
But it's the same. It's the same like videos they show all the time, and I've been at the PI a good few times, and I'm like, fuck.
I think what I like now as well is, and I found myself watching something with the Paddy fight. I quite like if on my YouTube feed if the embedded stuff comes up, or obviously if it's something involving you or any of the guys at the gym that I'm fond of. You know what I mean?
Embedded's very good, eh?
It is good, I like
more
all
personal
that.
side.
Definitely like that. But I mean, you're kind of the same, aren't you? You know, like I religiously watch every UFC, do you?
I do it now because we're more of a MMA podcast. Because when I originally started this, we weren't really an MMA podcast. We were just three guys chatting shit, and now we need to actually break down fights because we've got like three different, depending on what you're wanting for the leathered. You can have the intricate conversations with the fighters or the coaches or the guys like what we're having with you, or you can have the breakdown of fights and what's happening in MMA, so the current events. And then when we do our open, not our open mat, or like Patreon stuff, that's when we get up to what you did the weekend. This was the madness that was happening. So, so they've split it all up, so we're making each of them much better.
So. It's not as bad for me because I finish work at 3 a.m. anyway, so I can sit and watch it on my phone because I'm not falling asleep straight after work. So
I think the answer for me is there's that much of it going on.
It's a weekly thing now.
And I think probably a lot of people are the same, but like I'm just really interested in the people that I'm interested in. It's like having a football team, innit? I mean, you don't maybe want to check every single score of the Premier League over the weekend, but if there's certain fighters that you like, or again, I'm like, if I bumped into fighters over the years that like maybe I met years ago that were actually quite sound and quite nice to me at the time, I'm like, I want to see them doing well.
I hope they do good.
Absolutely. Your chat earlier about Uriah, whenever he fought, I was keen to find out and watch how he got on.
Because you've got a horse in this race. It's like you know him personally.
And it was always like I was always gutted he never got he was in a bad time when Dominic Cruz was just a terror, wasn't he?
Just a bit unfortunate. He was just around when Dominic Cruz was around.
That crazy style.
Because any other time he would have been the king for a long time.
I like when he said battering Team Alpha Male guys paid off my mortgage. That was the best one I ever heard for him.
True story.
And I was like,
I think back to your thing is what you said, Ross, as well, though, with back to the wrestling. I think they're scoring the takedowns differently, aren't they?
I don't know. Sometimes
like
they do.
A case if you take them down, it was like
it's a huge win for you, wasn't it?
And I'm a bit like,
but if you're not doing anything with it.
No, exactly.
It's not enough just to take somebody doing I don't
So that's what I'm saying, that maybe it goes against the out and out wrestlers, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Would you be interested in doing like some refereeing, some judging at the side of it? No?
Refereeing any sport is for absolute
dicks.
Losers.
Apart from Mark Goddard,
he's a big he's a big lad, and he's a black belt at jiu-jitsu. No, I think obviously nah, I'm just...
Why no? Can he be arsed?
Refereeing shows?
I don't know.
MMA fights?
You seem to like it when you've got a couple of guys on the mat going at it and you're watching.
I do, but nah. It's also a thankless task.
Because you can only get it wrong, eh?
I think so, aye.
They're not going to go, well done, ref, we never noticed you at all during that fight.
But I want about you if you're refereeing any sport, aren't you? Really?
I was going to referee MMA.
There you go. Point proven. No, I mean, I think I don't know. There's been some mad referees, isn't there?
Aye.
Me and Stevie, I was in Paris with Stevie Ray for that grappling comp he done, and we're just talking about Paris, and out pops Mario Yamasaki out the subway, like up the steps. You know what I mean? I'm like,
but then no one would know who he was
apart from me.
Apart from
did. And I'm
MMA
like,
guys.
Stevie, I'm like, is that Mario Yamasaki? And he's like, you know what Stevie's like? He's like, aye, and then he's just like, Mario. And then the guy turned around, he's like, how you doing? And I'm like, fuck's sake, Stevie. But I was him, but I mean, he gets, I didn't realise how badly he got.
I think they all get it.
Destroyed. From Dana as well, though. Dana White
they're open for, to get it in the neck.
It was him and Steve Mazzagatti, wasn't it? But
get it wrong and you're
it was Steve that done the love heart, wasn't it? No, was it Mario?
No, it was Mazzagatti that done it. Aye.
But he had a couple of howlers, eh?
Aye, I think they two, Yamasaki and Mazzagatti, are notoriously like.
Aye.
But I think
people
back
say
then,
lost.
was it not just like, it's good to see guys like Mark Goddard referee, and Herb Dean was one. Big John McCarthy was a bit of a legend.
See, but all these guys have came under some sort of scrutiny.
They have, but I mean,
Made errors, eh? Because they're just men. That's it. It seems to be changing now, though. We're saying, like, let's have a look at the replay, and I don't know, I think there is room for something to happen, eh?
I've always liked Big Beltran. I like that tash he's got.
That's pretty cool.
That's fucking.
Come on,
I think
handle
this
your
was-
business.
Was it the Nevada State Commission or the Athletic Commission? But did they not just appoint referees, and they maybe didn't necessarily have MMA experience? Am I making that up?
No,
Was
I
that
know
what the
you fought
judges?
Jamal.
They were-
His arm is fucking clearly broken.
That guy was a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Really? And he's just like,
So because there still isn't even a governing body within MMA.
No.
So the Nevada and all that, these are originally boxing commissions.
That's definitely the judging issue.
And then what's happening is you're bringing in guys who have worked in boxing for years, and now they're like, don't get me wrong, now it's different because they've now got a set group of MMA judges and referees, but originally it was just boxing commission guys who were doing their job.
Aye.
I know.
No, I think it's good to see guys. I think you've got now a situation that way, like if you've got the Champions League final and you want a big ref and they're reffing, I think we've got that in UFC now and MMA, and being like, again, I keep saying Mark Goddard, like he's
probably the number
built
one guy
himself
away.
up there, and it's like you've got a big fight on, you want a solid ref. He's a big lad if he needs to pull somebody off.
I think that's important as well.
Absolutely.
Like, he's got to be able to command respect, because
Is
otherwise you
there,
might.
Is there any female referees? Imagine.
No, I don't
No?
think there's any.
That's a bit strange, isn't it?
It is, because I mean, like in every other sport, and then even
Soccer, aye. There's
well, do you
female.
know what?
referees.
I'm a massive snooker fan. Like, love the snooker.
Aye.
And there's a few female referees in that now. I find that a strange one. Like, I don't know any girls that play snooker, but
Aye.
it's weird that there isn't, to be honest. Especially maybe even for reffing the girls' fights. I don't know.
I know. What about an Invictus? They must have female referees there, surely. But I can't think of any.
I can't think of a
watching
time I've
thing-
ever seen a fight and it being a female.
And when you're getting the better of somebody and she's like, right, start moving.
Paige Van Zandt must be doing. She's done everything else. I'd seen a clip. She's doing like that slap thing as well now.
I know, she does a wee bit of everything. I think she gets...
Does
I think she
feature
gets
female.
I think she...
There we go.
Invicta does have female referees.
Good.
Kim
I'm fighting the purse,
Winslow.
woman. Let's go, women in top tier sports.
Aye.
Right, Jimmy was telling me about a situation when you were in Sweden and you were there with a fighter.
Right.
He was fighting in the Ultimate Fighter. And where'd you end up taking him?
Oh, this guy. This has got a bit of like to the casino.
Aye.
Aye.
The guy was
gambling.
It's not that bad.
No, the guy
No,
was
the
a
guy's a
gambling
proper
addict,
recovering.
and he ends up fucking dragging him.
Aye.
What was his name?
So it's Casey Scola.
Aye.
I think he's actually in the jail.
Is he?
Aye. So that was
Fire him up. Is it
fire him up.
Cola? Casey?
Bring that up.
Casey KYACEY. Because
And then it's Cola just like...
you Scola USCOLA.
I think he's got a shocking record, if I'm right.
That's him there, aye.
Aye. Guy had a gambling issue and you were for 21 and 25. But he
Few
wasn't,
fights, though.
he wasn't Ultimate Fighter, wasn't he?
He was, and he was legit at one point.
Mate, he was no that old there. Did that say he's only like 43 the now? Guy looks old.
And that was a young picture.
Aye.
I think he was kind of at a loose end, and this was before Uriah came over. That was Uriah's boy.
Mm-hmm.
Started off all right.
I
Chael Sonnen.
Musasi as well.
Fucking hell.
I'm sure he got done for domestic abuse.
Did he?
Aye,
I think it's quite a common thing for guys that are taking these massive shots.
crazy.
Too many dunts in the heat, man.
And he fought actually another guy on that
Aye.
night, a guy called Bruno Cavallo.
The next one underneath said he's 13 years ago.
Really?
Aye.
It's a shame as well, because again, he was like kept in touch with him, you know.
Until he
For a
get
period
this,
of time.
and you're like, right.
Now just write to him.
I know, right?
So how does that work out? Like, did you know he was a recovering fucking gambling addict? And you,
No, I think to be fair, James is like, I maybe was like, what do you want to do now? You know, there was a press conference. It was that, you know, Reza Madadi, absolute psycho.
is this when he flung the handbag? Is that
No,
Norman?
that was in the UFC, wasn't it? That was
Norman
the
Park?
handbag get flung at him.
Aye,
It was Norman Park, aye.
Norman Park for it.
I think he basically.
I thought I
broke
was in.
into that was in the UFC.
Was that UFC?
Broke into a designer shop, didn't he?
Aye,
Stole all the bags.
guy's an absolute crackpot. But Casey fought Bruno Carvalho, who's really a legit, very good jiu-jitsu player in that as well. And I think we were just after the weigh-in and had stuff to, like time to kill, and it was like fancy going to the casino, and he's like, I love the casino.
Obviously, this guy
I'm
loves
like-
it because you know, like.
So then it
let's
wasn't
do
until later Uriah came in, and it's like he's like, and he's mad California. He's like, you took this guy at the casino, and I'm like, yeah, just for an hour or so. He's like, this guy's got a serious problem, man. Like, I think he mentioned drink and gambling, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't. He never said any of that to me.
They do all go together.
All's well that ends well, though. It was fine.
Did he win?
I can't even remember. I do remember another side story on this. Though.
That definitely means he didn't win.
See, because that week we trained with Uriah and I held pads for him, just me, him and Paul, while we're tossing about the hotel, as you know how much time we got to kill. On the night of the fight, I cornered James with Paul, and then Uriah was like, do you want to come and warm up Casey? Because I don't know the feed pads. And I'm like, if you want. So I done that, and then I cornered Casey with Uriah, went back to the changing room, and this other American guy called Hector Ramirez, who used to fight in the UFC as well, with the big chain around his neck. He's like, dude, do you want to warm me up? I've only got a wrestling coach of me. And I'm like, if you want, I hope that's you as well.
And you still,
like,
and your ankle's still fucked at this point.
aye. And then he's like, do you want to just come and corner me? So like, I ended up cornering James.
Three
that
guys
night,
in one
Casey
night?
used to go on this Hector Ramirez guy.
That's how it was back then, though, eh? There was a lot of just, we'll see what happens when we get there.
Even on big shows, especially like Superior Challenge was a big. I was only there because I think James felt sorry for me and was like, after the fight and the loss, he's like, why do you come to Stockholm and hang out? And I was like, cool. I think he paid for my flight.
You were in my first corner under higher level as well.
There you go. I know.
Top cornerman.
I think I actually cornered Stevie at first UFC as well. James couldn't make it for whatever reason. I think I had to go.
So let's a wee bit closer to you, mate.
Not better. Cool, man.
Guys. So you have done it, but that was like our very first time because we had beef.
I know, is this the thing you wrote on your phone? Have you got this written down on your phone, this thing?
No.
The
I certainly
jiu-jitsu
haven't.
competition. I would mention that. It's a good story.
Was there actual beef, though? Because I've not
Absolutely.
seen this.
There was.
Absolutely. aye.
There was. For the gym I came for the gym you came for, yous were the boys, and we thought we were at the heels of yous, and see, looking back at it, we weren't fucking close.
I think what yous were probably you especially, and definitely Chris, were overachievers for what the facilities and the coaching and the training partners he's had.
I would 100% agree with that.
I mean, that's not an insult, by
No,
the way.
it
I
certainly
don't
isn't.
think
So
If
either.
anything,
We've spoke about it quite openly before.
if anything, it's a compliment because, like, if you know the guy that's got all the coaching and the talent, the facilities that doesn't make it, that's kind of if they're underachieving, that's. But I think we were ahead of the curve for a while, and
Still.
and you guys were. I think so, and I say I'm not really involved in MMA at the gym. It's mostly James, but we all kind of grew up together, and we probably would never be where the gym would never be where it is now if I hadn't went through all that. But I think you and Chris especially, because Chris had a really, I say good run, but it was a fucking bad run for us. He beat a lot of your guys. Yeah, it was frustrating.
We thought it was yous.
You thought what?
You thought you were the bad guys. We were the good guys.
We were the good guys.
No, you were definitely
Propping up
not the
Scottish
good guys. No.
But then we thought we were the good guys. And I look back now and I'm thinking, I was an absolute prick.
Well, I remember like going to, remember when you first started coming to the gym and it was like, fuck, we could have been mates, you know what I mean? Like, there's quite a lot of common interests.
Well, see, when I first started coming in and you two were having a laugh and that, I was like, was this on me? Because I was oblivious to everything because I came from a different gym to Scottish Hit Squad. So I never really got into it. I spoke, like if somebody said hello to me, I just said hello back. I never really did the, I never did the them and us thing. But you were quite entrenched with it. Like,
I was a prick. Aye, but I
were
think,
you a bit as well? Aye.
nah, not,
See, the thing
not
is,
so
you
much.
just never even had any like heavyweights for me to fight anyway. So I was being a prick for none. Like, it wasn't like I was trying to get fights with the guys. And I'm going to fuck you up. What, you going to fuck up a host of 77 guys?
Oh, I know. I mean, we never. I don't really know. I don't think I was a prick, really. Well, I'm a prick in general, but like, I wasn't openly
hostile.
Nah, because I was not really on Facebook and all that or whatever.
I remember the first time like I walked in and you were there and you were like,
I was like, what the fuck are you doing here?
you doing here? You get the rank gym, and I was like, just know the Hit Squad.
I remember when James called me, he's like, guess who I'm just off the phone to or had a call from, and I'm like, who? And he's like, Paul Craig. I'm like, go on. And he's like, he's wanting to come through.
See, the thing is, I wouldn't have came through if it wasn't for Adam Lodsby. Stevie Ray.
Oh, right, okay.
Originally, Stevie Ray had hit me up and he'd asked me, listen, mate, if you're ever at Lucerne, why don't you come up and train? Because I'd left my old gym and we were running a sort of camp out at Chris Bungard's shed. Now his shed was well kitted out, it had mats, we could get some sparring, and it was functional for what we needed it. The only thing I was missing was a high level coach, because at the time Chris was obviously fighting, and the guys all around about us were all fighters as well, so we never had like a out and out, right, this is our coach and he makes the game plans and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Stevie Ray had hit us up, and I'd had a few conversations with Stevie, and I remember losing in London to Ozdemir, and Adam had left me for a week and then messaged me and said, or phoned me, and he was like, get your finger out your ass and go to higher level. He's like, he's like, you're not going to run another camp in a shed. You're a fucking top level athlete. Get your ass to higher level. You know it's the right place to go. And I was like, no. I'll get a camper van. I'll go and. My idea was, this was my idea. I'll take a camper van down to outside Phil de Vries's gym and Tom Aspinall's gym, and I'll just stay there for the Monday to Friday and then drive back up the road.
It's not a terrible idea.
When higher levels literally 20 minutes.
Aye, that's a terrible idea. But I mean, like, if you,
I remember saying that to him. I was like, don't be a fucking idiot. Get your ass up to higher level. And I remember I was like, right, I'll phone James, because it was like I had to go in my tail between my legs, because maybe about 2 years before that,
I know the exact moment.
Me and James were like nearly scrapping in a cage.
I'm sure he said
James pushed me in the cage.
Oh, you told me you shoved him at the road.
James pushed me in the cage, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
I think it was maybe the opposite way around.
No, I think
he shoved him. He shoved James, didn't he?
I was walking up the stairs and I was in front of James. I remember it because I wasn't going fast enough for James, and this was in between corner breaks.
Okay.
And he pushed me in. I was
you deliberately slowing down just to be a dick?
Possibly, aye.
Does
that sound like something? Aye. So anyway, James was like, aye. So me and him nearly did a scrap, but
you'd have had your work cut out for you with him, by the way.
He'd have knocked me out.
He's so unassuming.
I know he is.
The other guys I've trained with and coached, and that was the thing with James, was like, when you're talking about no leader, James was a leader, but then when he fought, it was like, well, who's his coach? And I wasn't his coach, but I cornered him, and I cornered him like I cornered anybody else. Like, and you know, just what you would do for somebody. But all the guys I've kind of cornered or even trained with, like, he's one fucking hard bastard. And in the sense of just being hard. I've trained a few, you know, that way you get guys who are really good, you get guys who are athletic, you get guys who maybe got all of it, and you've got some tough cunts. He's at the top for me. Aye, he's out in his shield type thing. Seen him do 5-round fights.
I've heard him say certain things, and that tells me he's that type of person, and I just think, that was...
It was like, what I noticed was he's well respected everywhere in the MMA community, not just in the UK or Scotland. I'm talking like guys I've spoke to in America, do you know James Doolan? And everybody speaks so highly of him.
No, he's put his life into it. Like, it's just quite impressive.
It's a big sacrifice.
Well, you think how many people he's got to the UFC?
I know.
And that's
I
in
know.
Scotland.
I know.
Like, more than what? So, how many guys we had? Like 5 in the UFC for Scotland. He's got Joanne, he's got Stevie, he's got Henry.
Yep. Again, I wouldn't say Robert was like, but
Robert's
Robert kind
here
of came
myself.
through us to an extent, like, but not
That was
through.
the early days as
Aye,
well.
that was
eh?
the grip house more, but that was when we were all meeting. It was all collective. We were all up there now.
But
Obviously,
he's had a hand in the vast majority of people that's came through these,
oh, definitely, aye.
through the doors.
It's a lot of weekends away though. It's a lot of trips abroad.
So
it's a
that's
lot
where
of-
the kind of, and it was. I always think it's quite cool that he's not necessarily doing it for like the fame or that either. Like he
Definitely.
doesn't
Hates it.
seek that attention. Whereas a lot of people,
I love the fact he just disappears. Like,
I mean, saying it in London, he just James not coming down for a drink. Nope.
so remember that was in London. He's like, I said, what did you do last night? I got a pizza at the room and had a bottle of Corona. I was like, you absolute lunatic.
I mean, Kieran bring it up to
Psycho.
him. I was like, where are you going with that? Up to the room for James.
Aye,
aye.
I was like, no, coming doing that. Nope.
No.
I know.
As
No,
the
no
soul,
interested in the fame,
Nah.
just wants to do the job and get it done.
It's
It's a good thing.
Home.
It is, aye, because I think you get that. People that are. Listen, I like a bit of like attention that way and centre attention and stuff like that. I think a lot of people do. You do it. You're good at it. You know what I mean? It's part of your job. I think when you're in his position, there's nothing more kind of. That's a reassuring thing. You know, he's not trying to jump in front of you in front of the camera or. Aye, he's just.
Shows he doesn't need it though. He's
Nah,
not interested in anyone else's approval. It's
Nah,
there. It spoke
I
for
know.
itself.
Aye.
Have a good night.
nah, and I've seen him over the years. It doesn't really change who he is in front of anybody, to be honest, which is people do play up to people. I do it. You know what I mean? A lot of people do.
Showman,
He's-
that's
he-
what that is.
Well, Bobak. he's a straight, you know.
You
he's-
are one of the top pranksters in the gym, aren't you?
Absolutely.
You love it.
It's essential though.
It's a fire brigade thing. I've been
Aye.
trained
Work
by the
with a group
best.
of
I am
guys.
like SAS, pranking.
It's all
Guys.
right. I was gonna say.
Like ties people's shoes together. I ended up with like a big bit of metal stuck to my fucking keys. If you
Aye.
leave anything,
Aye.
it's getting like you're putting weights strapped to it.
It's a lifestyle. It's not a, do you know what I mean? You need to be on it 24/7.
High ratting people's shoes together as well.
Eating.
What's
Just
the,
instant.
what's your favourite prank?
Sounds silly, but like just putting a hole in somebody's can of juice, just a pin, and you know, sitting waiting on them like that, drinking it and it's all going down their jumper. Sounds ridiculous, aye. But I like that. I like a prank call.
It's anywhere you've got a group of guys working the way.
You were
do
talking
need that
about-
for
Oh, crazy.
morale.
You were
need
talking
it as
about
well.
prank calls yesterday with
Hissy.
Hissy.
I see.
I had forgot all about that. I can't even remember what the ins and outs it were, but I do remember getting them pretty good.
Mm.
I like a prank call. I don't laugh when I'm phoning people. Like
Just nice.
I can just
You can be quite deadpan, eh?
Zone
That's,
out and
I
then-
never know if you're
being serious.
or having a laugh. See, like
don't know.
you're like, I'll come on the podcast. I need more. Come on, I will.
One of my favourite stories is when you were touring America.
I'm glad I came. That's good.
Me too.
When you were touring America with your brother. Absolutely love it.
Touring America with my brother.
You were. I don't want to. But when you picked up the.
Aye, no, I know. Well, aye, you allowed to talk? Aye, well, I can talk.
Talk openly.
Aye, that when we picked the boy up.
Aye.
Aye, nah, it's dodgy stuff. He's not.
No.
Heard, I don't think you have heard that.
I've not heard it, no.
Brilliant.
Did you tell him no?
No.
Aye, it's dodgy in America as well. Different in the UK. If you pick somebody up here, I think you're a little bit safer. But when you pick a hitchhiker up in America,
Could shag you.
they could. Aye, I was thinking more like a gun or something like that.
Oh,
but
right.
aye, maybe they could shag you. I don't know. But I picked a guy up, and my brother was more the one egging me on. He'd had a few beers, and I was driving the hire car. And the guy's like looks like a snowboarding type, rough kind of character, and he had like just a rucksack and this big massive ski bag hold all thing. And he gets in the car and he's blathering away. He's got his rucksack round, he's like holding it tight, and his big bag's in the boot. So my brother's like getting all this chat with him, and I'm just like, fucking get me out of here, man. And my brother's cringe when he's drunk. He's like really bad. And he's like, what's in your bag, bro? And the guy's like, none of your fucking business. I'm like, holy fuck. So I'm just like driving.
Time to pull in.
Well, I waited a little bit longer, and then I was like, I was driving, and my brother was like, tell us what's in your bag. And then I was like, aye, mate, what is in your bag? And he's like, I told you, bro. He's like, none of your fucking business. So I'm like pulling over onto this little lay-by thing. And I was like, right, that's as far as you're going, mate, get out. and my brother's like laughing. It's all just a bit frantic. The guy gets out, he starts like swearing at us and saying like "fuck yous" and all this. And as soon as he's out and the door shut, I've tore off. We've drove all the way to where we're going, and then realised we drove away in such a hurry. This guy's bag's still actually in the boot of the car. So we get there and open the boot, and the guy's bag's still there. It's fucking crazy, man.
So what's in it?
None of your fucking business.
Fuck's sake, mate.
Come on, mate.
Man,
Did they have you?
I was in, by the way.
I was in there.
I was
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah.
Mate, one of the best stories
That
ever
was good.
fucking heard.
Aye, very good. You never heard that one?
No, mate. I'm out here. Just use swap seats with me, catches that.
See when he said it, see when the other day word.
I know.
I was like, fucking.
What was in the bag?
I told it to a guy once, and he was just like, "Some mad story," and I'm like,
Right, come on, hit it.
he never asked.
No.
Just
Nah.
wasn't concerned with what was in the bag.
Nah, I think he realised it was a mad story, but I had I wasn't bothered with the bag. It's just like, it's a mad story.
Fucking
I can't believe you got that.
I
man.
can't believe I fell for that.
I wasn't sure if you actually knew about it, and this was all.
No, we
Nah.
were setting you
That's,
up.
that's why.
No.
That's why.
We script nothing here.
There you
We
go.
maybe should start.
That's a good one. Apparently, it's an old one.
Aye, I've like the first time I heard it was you.
I've
You
never
told,
heard that.
You told Audie it. Remember in
Oh, that was golden.
was that
Wasn't it?
in Rio, London?
That was at like the dining table of that kind of
Aye.
fancy restaurant.
So we are like, so Audie is the owner of Paradigm, and like he owns it with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor's manager.
He owns it with Conor McGregor.
Aye, Conor McGregor owns Paradigm.
Was that
You
new?
know, got a share in
No.
Upper 12 or something as well.
Aye,
I thought, well, what does matter? I thought Audi owned Paradigm, and then they took Conor as they managed him, and then
I think what happened was, see, once he became as big as you're ever going to get, I think he ended up buying into it.
right. Aye,
Right.
TT liked that story, didn't he?
Aye, and but he was like, he was like proper invested.
He's
like,
a nice guy.
You know how
He's a good
Americans are like pure like wow, and he,
What was in the bag?
you're just hook, line, and sinker.
Aye.
Come here, you.
That's a good story.
Aye,
Audie likes to party, I think.
Think so?
I'd say so.
Aye. I had a wee party with him, man. Had a party with him.
I think when you're packing, you got so much money, it would be
Sharp
just
dresser
a
as well, isn't he?
aye.
Sharp
Just
dresser.
a byproduct to being a millionaire, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like can I be party now and again? I'll never know. I know. I know. Nah, it's a good story. I like that one.
Mhm.
What was he back to the rivalry? You should tell me about the jiu-jitsu comp. I don't mind talking about that story.
no,
Even
I know
though I'm
you
the
don't.
victim.
It's funny. It's funny. I'm like 100 kg at this point. What
You were
were
107.
Oh, was I?
And I
Well,
was
you remember the number?
That's very
Like,
specific.
I'm not even bothered.
Well, it's because I know I was 77 and you were 107. So I
So-
remember being 30 kilos.
Scottish Jiu-Jitsu was like, it wasn't a big scene. There was like there was a handful of guys, and you roughly knew who you were getting in your group, and then they would have a thing at the end of the day called like an open weight, where MD would fight MD. It was like who was the best.
Who was the best?
Well,
Who was the
the
biggest?
heaviest,
Who was the
aye.
biggest?
so we're down in Kilmarnock Judo Hall.
Yeah,
And,
the mecca of
I ended up winning.
Scottish
I ended up winning my division, but they had a belted judo hall down there. It was like a lottery
It was,
funded,
aye, yeah.
lottery funded. The mats were the best, so they hired. And I think it was like maybe Rob McCrum who used to run that.
Yep, God rest his soul.
Aye, he
Good
was like
guy.
one of the old school BJJ guys. He used
Aye.
to come up and teach us some stuff as
Yep.
well. So we went for the open mat. I think I won. I think originally I went up against Dean Riley and I smoked him. Same again. Guy was tiny in comparison to me, like thin.
Dean's on light on me
Aye.
probably back then, aye.
So I go up against him and I smoke him, and then my next one's you, and I'm like, I'd obviously knew who you were, and I was like, fuck you, hell, man.
I was
Danny.
like,
What belts are we the new?
blue. Then blue.
I think I was white.
No, you were blue.
I was white.
No, you weren't.
I was.
Shut up. Take a day off. No, you weren't.
I was white. I
You
don't
were
even-
not.
I don't think I had a belt.
It was
I
blue,
I
'cause
think it
we
was my
went on
first
string just
I
hadn't their
think it was my
t-shirt.
first jiu-jitsu match.
We wouldn't have been against each other if you weren't blue.
I think they just seen how good I was,
It
and
wasn't
I
like
just
a kumite.
they just went, send the big man in. So anyway, I go up against him and he absolutely smokes me. Like he's just passing me, he's having a bit of fun. And I remember just lying there and I heard James at the side of the mat saying, he said something like, I tell you, he said something like,
That was Paul. I think it was Paul.
was it Paul? And he
Aye.
said something and
Blake
it was
James,
something
yeah.
like just pure shitty towards me. Because I'd fucked up that guy, Dean, and he was good. And but
Dean
it was
was
nothing,
good, aye,
but
Dean
it was
was
nothing to do with me other than being my mass. And you were side controlling, and I remember he said something that pissed me off, man. I just fucking fired up this Ezekiel choke, right? It's like a pure ball bag move. And I remember having you so close to me and looking into your face, and I'm like, it's over. It's over.
He started screaming it. Like, it's over, shouting it. I'm like, this guy's...
And you're like, fucking there, right? So as this happens, right, you tap and I slam you into the mat and I stand up like a fucking just won like the Grand Prix of the world. The place erupts, man. There's people on the mat. Everybody was like, they're like, people were starting to like get a bit handsy. So then the next thing, and I remember the next match was...
See, it was like Dale, was it not Martin Delaney? Did you get Dale?
But it was Dale versus one of your guys.
Right.
And they gave him a bye so that I'd get him next.
Okay.
So they gave him an easier match, and Dale was like, I'm not sure if he'd maybe already tried out for the UFC tough, because he'd done it twice, didn't he?
Aye.
So I'm not sure if he'd just done it. And I remember who Dale was, big judo guy, and he grabbed me and fucking threw me about like a wet tracksuit.
Aye, Dale was good.
And then as I hit the mat, I went to fire in a knee bar, not a knee bar, like a straight Achilles, because straight Achilles were allowed at this point in jiu-jitsu. But you couldn't reap the knee, so I wasn't allowed to bring it over.
Yep.
Bastards DQ'd me.
And that's
place erupted.
I couldn't remember it ending after the choke. I was that fuming.
Pissed off. So the place erupted again, and then everybody was just berating me. You big bastard, that's what you get.
Aye.
And I left the mat.
I just remember like that kind of rule of being like in my head, being like, I'm on top. This rule's defunct now, but back then it was like, I'm on top side control.
Collecting.
I can't get choked here. You started choking me. I'm like, I'm going to be fine here. Like, I'll just tough it out. This isn't going to work. And I'm like, tighter. I'm like, fuck. I'm getting proper strangled here. And then obviously, I'm over it. But
I know. I was.
You look over it.
I know I was a bad guy in this situation. Because I was like, it's over. Like I thought I was in some sort of fucking. I thought I was in like a Karate Kid or something.
You're like the bad guy. You know. No. I'm totally over it. To be fair.
Nah, we had some bit. There was some rivalry, but now I'm part of the team, and I've said it before. Like James basically tell the guys to go for me, and he's told me this. Sean told me like, and it was like, can you hang with these guys, or are you just going to get crushed? So I really appreciate James for doing that, because the first month of my time in higher level was fucking horrible. Like, it was tough.
Mate, fair play to you for making the jump.
And I was old as well.
Aye, I think.
No, but in the world of MMA, start like, imagine just hitting a redo button and starting from scratch, and having young guys just fucking hose you.
I can kind of remember the conversation James called me, and then I was like, I hope you told him to fuck off. Basically, like, you know, getting a joke. And then obviously after we had a laugh at that, and then it was like, to be honest, like, fair play to him for it must have took a fair bit of bottle to
come in there with my hands.
Aye, and like
tail between my leg and hands out, please, sir.
We said that at the time, and that's.
And then for that, James couldn't make my first fight because he was having twins, and
that's right. Aye,
he was like, "Listen, Danny's going to go." Danny's obviously cornered the who's who in Scottish MMA.
Aye, no, I was good. That I always remember that as well, because I'd obviously met you, but I hadn't met Chris, so it was always, I was like, he had a bad rep as well.
Aye.
Although I'd never spoke to the guy, so I'm like, how the hell is this going to be? And then again, I got on really well, and I also had it in my head, I'm like, because it was your first fight from our team, James wasn't there, I'm like, am I going to need to say to Chris, listen, I'm the corner here, like, I'm the head coach type thing. But that conversation didn't need to happen. Chris gave me his due totally, gave me space and allowed, which was good. He helped me and like got involved in the corner obviously, but didn't he like take over, or he wasn't trying to pull rank and saying, listen, I've been with Paul for this long, or he really stepped back, which I kind of respect him for that, because it'd have been easy to, you know, just jump in.
Right.
So I didn't have that relationship with you, personal relationship, you know, that's quite important in it.
But we've got it now, mate, and we've had some good times, haven't we?
Aye, definitely. Aye. I think you just, if you're a half decent person and you come to the gym and train hard, and which you do, it's not really difficult, is it? As in, to be sound, get a laugh, and some people find it difficult maybe, but I'm not looking at you.
Why did you look at me?
It's only your Paul here, I'm just trying. Nah, it's worked out pretty well. That's a good gym, and obviously you're kind of helping the next wave of hopefully our guys coming through on the big things.
I know it's been a good couple of years that I've been there. I think this will be my third year, and see the development in some of the guys.
Aye.
Like, it's incredible. They're just getting better. And then there's young guys coming through, like that young boy Kai. Incredible.
Striking's nice, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Aye, we're getting to that age, mate.
It's good seeing young kids like coming through proper young though. I mean, what age is he?
17 or something.
Aye.
Like,
There's one who was at school with my son, and I was grappling with him the other day.
Duncan. But you think
big
aye,
shapey guy.
I remember you were in the cage, weren't you? Remember?
Aye, and
That's
I
right.
was like, he was talking. I was like, "What school did you go to?" And that Inverarmid, and my son goes there, and I was just like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
we're all boys now. Right, I'll tell you what else I've got written down here. I have got you in Dublin, nearly fighting Uriah Hall.
Oh my God, how did you hear that?
Just let's say dip the toe
Was
there.
this James? You obviously James
No.
tried to stick me in. You must have. It wasn't me trying to fight Uriah Hall. It was probably me trying to not get destroyed. He was, remember,
He was a bear, wasn't he? Remember he had that spinning heel kick?
absolute monster.
Killed the boy.
It was just
about killing it.
Aye.
The guy like wheelchaired out, didn't he?
I think Stevie Ray fought Ross Pearson.
I remember this.
I'm sure it was Ross Pearson. Really good win for Stevie. Ross Pearson's super legit. Stevie probably around about his prime.
He was a fan favourite at the time as well.
Pearson, oh definitely, and like I was a fan of his. You know?
Had he not just come off of doing the tough smashes? Like
Oh,
in
well,
the
he
UK?
was a coach
Him and the wee Australian boy or New Zealand boy. I can't.
who I do remember Pearson. Who's the other guy though? It won't really matter, but I'm sure that was the night Stevie beat Ross, and then we were in the hotel afterwards, and I don't know what it was. Uriah Hall was just like, we were at the bar getting drinks, and well, nobody was drunk or that, but I can't remember exactly what happened, but he basically got really fucking salty about something. Like, I think I maybe tapped him or something like that, and I think he maybe got beat that night. He's like, bro, don't fucking touch me.
Aye.
But it was just a case of like, I was maybe coming out with drinks and be
there
like,
was nothing
sorry
to
mate,
it.
and like, I nothing to it, and he was like, bro, don't fucking touch me. And I was about like, I can't remember what I said, but I was like, who the fuck?
Or
like,
what?
no,
Is
no,
that
or
what you
what? No, I was like, what the fuck you
You
on
might pick
about?
your jaw up
Who
in 10
you talking
minutes,
to? Or something, you know, something like that. Because I'm sure I think I was with Dale as well then. I think me and Martin went over. I was just like, wow. And again, that's an example that you maybe watch this guy come through the Ultimate Fighter, you like his fights, and he comes across well. He's a really good guy. And then he's obviously
I think he was one of these guys that came across as he was a wee bit unhinged. He was a bit dickish.
Yeah.
I remember watching him in the Ultimate Fighter, thinking,
I think he was one of those fighters that was like scared of fighting as well. Like, I don't know if that maybe he fought and he obviously won fights, but I don't know. He wasn't like an out and out fighter. I don't know if he was a bit of a bully maybe. I mean, I was massive,
massive,
compared to
aye,
me.
he
I mean,
was.
he's towered above me. If we got into a real fight, I'd have obviously smoked him, but nah,
Took him down hard on his jeans.
Already had a bad enough
him with the Toriado pass.
I'm sure he would have absolutely destroyed me, but I was just like, what a dick, man.
aye,
Do you know who another one, my worst one ever? Randy Couture.
aye.
I grew up on
Watching him hang
Aye,
his
and I met him at the Grip House one day, and
He
was
let you down?
Aye, massively, mate. He was an arrogant prick.
Aye.
Aye.
What was he doing at the Grip House? Just taking a seminar?
No,
I don't know if
he
you're
popped-
telling the truth now, though. This is the thing. It's
Aye,
like,
and he
alright,
had this
tell
big
me more.
massive bag with him. No, he was doing some promotional thing. But remember Rich Carlin and all that? Remember them? They, and Chris Crowe, they did
Was,
that.
was he at FFC one of the nights? SFC?
Aye.
Was it the Vision one he went to?
Aye, yeah, right. So they had them over. I think they had them over doing a seminar and a little tour.
Something
and
to do
all
with
that.
his shop.
Aye, that's right. And they brought him up to the Grip House, and the Grip House used to have a really strong session in the morning, and then at night on a Friday, the Friday sparring was wild up there. It was amazing. And he came up about 12 or 1 o'clock and just had a wee nosy around, and I was still there. And I was like, oh, it's a shame that like he came into the Grip House and there was like a couple of wee guys like hitting a bag, looked terrible, right? And a couple of other wee guys sparring who'd been training for a year or so. And I was like, oh, it's a shame you weren't in earlier. You'd have been a bit more impressed. Like just because of the talent that was there and like the scraps that were going on. And he was like, yeah, I doubt I would have been impressed anyway. That's what he said. And I was just like,
Prick.
Nice ears, you dick.
aye, like, you know, didn't need to say that.
Aye.
And again, I thought he was an absolute legend back in the day. So that was that whole, you know, don't meet your heroes thing.
Aye. You don't know why would he need to say that, eh?
We didn't, and it just
Nah, we
made-
know you've seen.
Aye, we're not suggesting that we're as good as you, but I mean,
know.
it's like, I always remember that. I can remember it clear as day. His wee bonnet hang on and a.
Americans are weirdos, man.
Aye, I just thought he was like the kind of
It's a guy, eh?
good guy of the game and
Captain America, isn't he?
more like a straight shooter. And you know, Chuck Liddell was maybe a bit of a partier. Tito was a bit of a dick. Randy was just like your kind of almost like your Dagenham fighting, just a right hardy guy that could wrestle, wasn't he?
Captain of the football team.
Aye,
That's what I always thought of him.
Aye, Uriah Hall. No, he was a bit of. Didn't last long, did he? Really?
No, I think he had a bit
In the
of...
grand scheme of things, but
I do think he had a bit of a tear. I think he was there for a while. We'll find out now.
how many fights in UFC? I think he
I'm
has?
going to say 10 plus.
I was going to say 10. Here we go.
Aye, look at that for a...
At a lot of them UFCs.
Aye, look at the... Ah, mate, he's more than 10. Look at this.
Fucking hell.
Oh, there you go then.
And then came for the Ultimate Fighter. Did 4 fights in the Ultimate Fighter.
What was his record at the end? Because if he fought me that night in Dublin, would have been another loss on his record.
17 and 11.
Is he still fighting?
He'd have been 17 and 12 in Dublin.
No, I remember he said that he just doesn't know how to hurt people anymore. Then he retired.
Sometimes he would rock up and he'd be a world beater, and other times he'd walk up and he'd
I
shit
didn't
the
even
bed.
realise he was Jamaican. Why has he got a Jamaica flag? Is he Jamaican?
I think yeah.
Jamaican American.
Jamaican.
Right.
Nice.
Like,
El Daddy. Such an El
See what
Daddy.
he done there. Nah, aye. He was a douche. Who told you that? Must have been James.
Don't know, just... I've got
Heard
my
it.
sauces, mate. Got my sauces.
You do, don't you? Any others?
I do remember one that you told us at football. You went in a football tournament.
Aye, with my son.
You want to tell that one, no?
I can tell that if you want. Aye, so just a dad jab coming on the jab hand. Go.
I've seen the video. The video's brilliant as
Fighting
well.
another dad at the football?
What's that?
Were you fighting another dad?
Nah.
Was
Aye,
the
you
fight?
were,
We're in Barcelona playing a French team, my boys' team. My wee boy was only 9 at the time, and I'm there with my wife and all the families. And there's a bit of argy-bargy over the side. The French team are wild, by the way. Like as in the
Spit on you and that too. I mind it when I was a wee guy.
what the fans did.
No, the other players. See,
did
when
they?
we'd go in like playing football against other European teams, the players always spat on you. All the time, Spanish or French or that, they always spat on you. What the fuck is going on? None of that.
Just to kind of rile you a wee
Just
bit.
with that, I just spit in your face and that.
Well, this was like 9-year-olds
Aye, we were a
travelling
bit
to-
that age.
Aye, and they were down like intimidating the goalkeeper and
This is the dads. and
the whole
parents.
crowd, and they were just like, we were more like, we'd all had a couple of drinks. There was a bar. It was a nice day. You could sit and just watch the game and support your boy basically. But they were taking it to the next level, and they were absolutely, the worst it was, they were absolutely hammering the team. Like, the French team was dynamite, so they were smoking their boys. It was like 9-1.
So they didn't need to be dicks
No,
about it.
but and then they also had this 15-year-old team that was in. Every time the French team scored, the whole 15-year-old team ran on the pitch, picked up the scorer, and my wee boy and all these pals are like, what the fuck's going on? So eventually there was a bad tackle. One of the players from the other team's dad came on, grabbed our player by the hair, kind of pulled him up, and then that led to one thing, led to another. There was a bit of argy-bargy. I'm on the opposite side of the pitch with my wife Jen. She's like watching, I'm watching. In my head, I'm like, don't
Your
get
wife's
involved.
watching you.
Don't get involved. I always get involved. Don't get involved. And then I seen a few of the other dads getting manhandled by this French team. So I'm like, right, I'm in. So
Retirement.
straight over, unbeknown to me, one of the guys from our team, dad's is videoing it. And after I was like, was your first thought to pull your phone out and video that? Like,
Yeah,
grass.
no help the wins.
but I did say to him, I was like,
Can you say me
I
that?
was about like, cheers for the, no, I was like, cheers for the, I did, oh, to him.
Aye, to you, can you say me
I
that?
did, aye. I was like, cheers for kind of backing us up. So anyway, I went over, shoved a couple of guys out the road as you do, and then this guy's kept walking towards me, and then I was like, I've just, aye.
Through a wee.
I felt my life was under threat and self-defence.
You were in fear. That's
Oh.
it happens, mate.
Aye, yep.
Happens to me often at work.
Self-defence, I popped a jab.
Put him
was
in his
that.
place.
Yeah.
And that, to be fair though, that
It brings it
little
down.
escalation brought everything down.
Aye.
And
Because
then
nobody wants to be next.
Aye.
That's-
And then the guy was like, it was proper like, I must fight you. Like, you know, as if it was a proper serious thing. Like, we need to go and have fisticuffs to sort it, which I was all for. But aye, so I showed the boys at the gym and they're loving that part, weren't they?
Aye.
The dad
It's good.
jab.
I love that too.
The old dad jab.
Aye.
Putting these boys in their place.
Aye.
And it's like, we find ourselves in these situations, and I think quite a lot of people won't do anything. Like, if you've got a big bully and he's throwing his weight about, And all it takes is somebody who knows how to handle himself just to put them in their place at bump. Fucking stop your shit.
I had a boy at my work no long ago
100%.
took off his t-shirt and he had all the fucking Thai-style pyramid tattoos over him, and I was like, fucking hell, here we go. I was like, this guy's done a bit of... But aye, you do get them.
But there's guys who just want to bully and just a simple jab will fucking
Aye.
cost
I
it.
think, is that whole...
Because they've not been punched in the mouth.
Nah.
Whereas we get it regularly, we know what it's like to be punched.
I think I've always said it for years as well. I think because I say we, like collectively used to, but even jiu-jitsu, you're still getting that kind of ego, testosterone out, frustrated, like whatever it is. But I think people that don't do anything like that, they must have that almost sitting in them. That
Aye.
it's a very good vent, isn't it? To,
No outlet at all.
and then you don't feel like if you're on a night out or whatever, you don't feel the need to.
Aye.
Or like you, it's like I always remember a guy years ago, and he was a good Thai boxer, I think he was. And basically, some guy was wanting a square go with him, and the guy like could have wiped the floor with him, but he was like, "I don't fight for any less than £5,000."
Aye.
That was back then, because I can't remember who it was. It was something like that though. He's like, "I'm not fighting it in some shitty wee street in Glasgow with you."
We spoke about it. It's Christmas time.
Oh, man.
People don't normally get out, and everybody decides they're fucking world beaters.
Aye.
And then we were in a pub the very first year I was out with the higher level guys, and fucking chaos.
Was this for people getting?
There was somebody threw a glass, no from the higher level.
Who guillotined somebody? Stevie, or was
Stevie Ray.
somebody take Stevie's chip or something?
I told us that story. Fucking hilarious.
He's one of your worst nightmares to bump into in Glasgow and start fighting with him.
That's why there's a bridge across that
Oh,
water
Pfeiffer.
to stop the Pfeifers from coming across.
Oh, they're next level. Do
Aye.
you know what's a good story? The ostrich story. Stevie,
No,
he didn't know what an ostrich was.
he didn't know.
You think this is a wind up,
Aye.
don't you?
I'm not buying this.
So he's fighting for the Bama world title. It was quite a good belt back then.
What guy up there?
That's the fella. Oh, so you, I
That's a
forget.
bit of a big deal, mate.
Maybe
back
just
in
a bit before your time at
He
Bama.
does, aye. He won it just before me.
So he's cutting weight. These stories always, he's in the hotel. James, it's Christmas time. James and I go out and go to the local food stalls and markets, and it's like, you get wild boar burger, buffalo burger. So I had an ostrich burger, right? And go back to the hotel room, and because Stevie's cutting weight, you're fascinated with food, aren't you? You still think it's a wind up, don't you?
I'm waiting to see how it plays out. That's all.
So he goes like that, what did you have? And James is like, I had some fucking wild boar burger or something, and I was like, I had an ostrich burger. And he's like, ostrich? He's like, is that a type of large bird? No, sorry, that's what it is. He's like, is that a type of seafood? I'm like, no, it's an ostrich, like a big bird. You not seen it? He's like, I thought that was a type of seafood. I'm like, no, Stevie. So I end up on the phone. I'm like, it's an ostrich. Ah, right. So then he wins the title, wins the fight, and then I go and queue up the interviewers after it. And I'm like, go and do me a favour once you've finished talking about the fight, go and ask him what an ostrich is. And he's like, well, I thought it was a type of seafood, he says, but I now know it's a large bird. That, and just as if it was like, just matter of fact.
Aye. So every day of school day for him.
Aye, so he's some boy. But you
He
know
is.
what to pick a fight with him in the
No,
street.
he was in the gym
I've seen
yesterday.
him fight in the street. Back when I was just a young guy.
Oh, really?
Aye. At a pub I was working at. Years
Over
ago.
on Fife?
I was maybe 20. I think he's about the same age as me, so I was maybe like 20 or 21.
He was an animal back in the day.
Aye.
Just flatline.
Cunts were scared of me. Like, and he was going out with more than one person, like going out the front with a couple of boys.
Really?
Oh, he told us that story, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was
Aye.
like, he had a bit of an issue with something.
They
He
had
took-
said to
took
him,
him
you
aside.
think you're hard because you do a bit of MMA? And he went, aye. He goes, aye, you and your brother at the front right now then. And he just fucking done the two of them. The two boys were well known.
Really?
Like everybody, aye.
This is over in Fife.
Mm-hmm.
He's a lovely guy too.
Yes, he's so nice yesterday, training away, like having a good laugh and that. And you're like, fucking hell.
He's fucking solid.
Oh, he's
grabbed,
solid.
He grabbed me with a body lock. I was like, oh yeah, fuck it.
Oh, he's a unit.
It's like,
Aye.
get fucking off me.
I think if I go away with Stevie, but again, I went to Paris, like I said to you, it was last year, I'd probably be easier taking like my boy, he's 11. I feel like I'm just constantly looking after Stevie. I watch him crossing the road and all that.
Like hod my.
You know what? I would say this to him as well, but like, Stevie, like what, he'll just be standing, or like, he's a nightmare. Phone him, where are you? Oh, I didn't ken. I'm like, do you know what I mean?
It's a good thing he found fighting.
Oh, mate, his fight IQ is actually really clever.
It
He's
is.
bright when it comes to fighting, and he can pick patterns up and all of that. But he's come out with a few absolute crackers over the years. That ostrich one was good.
It's fighters, because I've heard Sean saying a few. You're like, what?
Oh, Sean Clancy?
Aye.
He's come out with a few as well,
some areas
It's mad because
he's super intelligent.
Aye.
And in other areas you're like, huh?
Aye.
You should fucking know that.
That's why I found it funny.
Fighters.
Obviously, became a dad quite recently, and I'm like, obviously, he does his bit as a dad and trains and all that. But I'm thinking, I feel like we need to look after you when you're here. You know, and now you're looking after
I know.
somebody else. But he's doing it, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's doing it. He had his kid in the gym the other day, actually, hitting pads. She was not impressed.
No.
She's there and just want to hold him. He's banging pads. I've lost my touch, but
Aye.
she wouldn't settle for me or James.
No.
Just wanted her daddy. But I know, so I think we get it out of our system. Like, I think that's the
We don't need to go out on a Saturday night and
I think
stroke
it's
our
also
egos.
saved me a lot of bother over the years as well. Where like, you'll definitely be the same. Where like, just even if you've got a wee bit of reputation for being able to handle yourself, if somebody gets wind of that, I think they give you a wide berth.
No, always though. I see it the other way around now.
What people think it's a take on.
Aye, they'll go, oh, do you think you're fit? Like, I just see at my work now, I hardly ever stand on the door now. I'm just inside, out the way. I can't be doing it. Because you'll get people who, you think you're fucking hard because you had a couple of MMA fights, like. And you're just...
Again, but even saying things like that to somebody's...
I know you're a BAM. The second you come out with that, I know you're an idiot, eh? But just like, the worst one is, I'll be walking back to my motor and then they appear. You're just
Really?
like, oh, mate, aye.
What, as if they've been waiting on you?
Aye.
This
That's
is
how I'm
like
taking it.
Roadhouse. You got a puncture and all that.
I've not had it that bad
You
yet.
got an old banger and then your good car's back at the house.
But they're, I get it from time to time. Like, I fucking hate it, to be honest.
And that's working in Edinburgh. Which is
Because
like
it's only, they're not going to, you know yourself, these people, like you say, they don't do anything and are pissed. There's no other way it can go.
Do you not feel safer knowing that there's no actually any real hard men in Edinburgh?
I've
Like,
heard
if you're
that.
in Glasgow,
Aye,
you'd
I've
be a
heard that.
different story.
Aye, well,
Aye.
according to the paper,
Aye.
that's what they're saying.
No such thing as a hard man from Edinburgh. Seen that wee sketch? No?
No, I like the boy for Dundee. He's my favourite hard man.
He is, aye.
He's a hard man.
He is a hard
See,
man.
any time that comes up in my story, first person I send it to, Adam.
Anytime I
Adam.
see Adam, hard man.
I get confused because another guy, Adam Hill, who trains at the gym.
Aye, he's for Dundee as well.
Aye, so the two Adams are Dundonian. They've got circles instead of roundabouts.
Do they?
I
That's
think
when he
that's a
calls
thing,
it
aye.
a pay and fev. Like what?
5 pence.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Abdi,
5.
that's the other one. Abdi. Abdi knows that.
Taking pound. You're taking a pound in
I
here.
know.
Dundee.
Aye, accents are a different level again though.
Ending like fucking 30 minutes from my house, I'm like, you're a fucking truther. Any direction.
Hey. Oh.
Oh,
I do find it funny. I've got a few pals that are like proper Glaswegian. Glasgow think that if you don't talk like them,
Aye.
it's wrong.
Aye.
That is a
They're so
Weirdos,
dodgy
eh?
bastards, aren't they?
The only people with the
So
fuck it,
gorgeous.
they've got the worst accent as well, and still think it's
think so?
it's the most disgusting accent I've ever heard.
What?
I'd rather speak like I came from fucking Peterhead than a Ouija, mate.
I thought
Honestly,
you did come for Peter. No, I like it. I'm a bit mixed up, but I'm Glaswegian, born and my parents are Glaswegian.
why
I
do you
left
speak
there
like
when
a
I was
normal
7.
human then?
I think I'm just a bit middle of the road.
Middle class, is that what it is?
Certainly not middle class, no. My dad was the best bus driver in the history of Glasgow.
Upper class, eh?
Aye, upper class.
Upper class.
Aye, accents are funny things, aren't they? Really funny.
It's the most.
30 minutes in any direction, it totally changes.
I know.
A Pfeiffer's pretty bad for me, to be honest.
I didn't mind them too much.
It's that saying A after everything.
Eh.
Stevie can be.
When I talk to Stevie, I start doing it. So I try hard not to do it when I'm with use.
Are you from there?
I'm from South Queensferry, so like the last stop before, but I'm bad for it. When I talk to my son, I feel like, because he's basically grown up his whole life in Livingston, I feel like he's talking to somebody with an accent he's never heard before,
Yep.
because I'm saying A and Ken and loads of things, but he's answering me as if he totally understands, but I know not one of his friends speaks like that. Not one of his friends, not one of his friends' dads, nobody.
Aye. Ken's a funny one. I don't like Ken.
Nah.
Ken. I say it all the time joking. We say
I
it at
say
work
it
all the time.
God,
Ken.
when I'm with yous, I try my hardest never to say it.
We do it as a piss take, but you know what I mean? Somebody says something like, oh, it's roasting today, we'll go, Ken.
Kenny.
So you are a fireman actually as your job?
Yep.
Saving
Proper job.
lives
I
and
must
that.
be one of the few guys at the gym that's got an actual job, a real job.
Aye.
No, you're awesome. You've got a job. But
I don't have a real job, mate.
No.
It's not really a job.
This no count as a job.
this, aye, for guys like you, aye, that are,
Aye. I suppose then, aye.
aye,
How long you been a fireman?
19 years come May.
What's your favourite fireman story to tell me?
Do you have a job before it?
I did had a few jobs. I got a good Navy story. I joined the Navy for 4 weeks. I waited home the first day. Hated it. I had to legally stay for 4 weeks. Hated every second of it. Just wasn't for me, mate. Aye. Just
I thought it'd been an area where you'd thrive.
my long-term goal was to be a firefighter.
Aye.
Aye, like even when I was at school, because I wasn't academic. And like you academic, you middle of the road.
Middle of the road.
So I would say I wasn't academic, and I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
an absolute daft either. You know, you get these proper crackpots at school. So a firefighter was always my kind of. I thought it was always a good job to go in middle of the road, and it's a bit cheesy about getting to help people a bit as well. And
Grim, though.
aye, definitely has its moments.
Aye. Because it's firefighters who go to the car crashes and stuff, eh?
Aye,
Like,
yep.
I wouldn't.
I think we worked out for 90. We went through a horrible stage. You just got loads of bad accidents and loads of other deaths, like random deaths as well. Must be over 19 years, 200 fatalities, roughly. Which is quite grim, but
And it's not like they fell asleep and died.
no, some of
It's
them are. Aye, some
a
of them are-
violent end
aye,
sometimes,
some of
eh?
them are pretty grim, but aye, you get through it together though. It's like proper.
I
I think
guess
that's where
why
the
you
dark
brought
humour
up
comes from.
the humour.
Oh, absolutely,
Need it, eh?
absolutely. Aye, definitely. You would. You'd need it. Popped into the fire station in New York actually when we were there.
That's right. You handed them.
Quite a geeky, although I wouldn't openly admit it, and I'm open about it, quite geeky about the fire brigade, really.
passion, mate.
It is, aye.
It's your group, though. That's
How long to retirement? You must be soon.
I'm not. We've been absolutely shafted, I'm afraid to say.
I thought for retirement
It was, so when I joined it was 50, so technically I would have 11 years to go, but they've changed it and it's 60, so I've got 21.
Imagine being 60 and still having to do the job you're doing.
Well, again, I don't know how possible it'll be.
It's a very physical job.
It can be. This is the worst part of it, though. Sometimes it's not. Like, activities like, because I'm always like, no kidding on, we're going to fires, like proper fires every night. We're doing all sorts. We were working last night, we're pretty busy. Didn't have what you would call a house fire, but busy with calls and stuff like that. But aye, you could be literally sitting about, like you are now, sitting on that couch, and then before you know it, you're flat out trying to smash down a door and then get in and get somebody. So aye, I don't think it's going to work out long term.
Yep.
When you're in your late 50s.
It wouldn't be for me. Like, I couldn't. I just see the thought of like going to a fucking car that's been smashed into the size of a Coke can and seeing people inside it. I just.
Loads of people say that, but I think you would, and I always say the same answer because I would never kid on like, oh, you like, I don't care.
Yeah. No, of course you
But-
care. That's why you picked that job.
But I think you would be surprised. A lot of people say that, and I think you would be surprised because I think our job's a bit to like show up and kind of be the person that holds it together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? If you're in a bad car accident and you start seeing the fireys and the ambulance service and the police losing their shit, getting upset, and you'd be like, wait a minute, this is like, our job's to hold it together. Later on, maybe you could, but I think you'd be surprised. You just go into that whole job mode and be like, it's about like fight night. You're not
It's
the same,
on me.
You're not the same guy on fight night as you are now, are you?
No, you're absolutely right.
So
Suppose, aye.
when you're walking, it's different. For that half an hour that you're fighting, or the half an hour you're at a car accident, when the job needs to get done, it needs to get done. Then later on,
100%,
you can.
Because I don't doubt you've had ones where you've went home and went, fucking hell.
Oh, absolutely. I speak to Jen about stuff like that all the time. I'm lucky I can speak to James about stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I've trained with James so long that he's like one of my, he's a good pal.
Closest mate.
He's actually a good guy to talk to about deep stuff. You wouldn't maybe necessarily think it, but I think that's the key. As long as you talk to people about it.
Aye. I think he notices people who've got stuff going on too, James.
Aye.
Without them saying, he spots it, eh?
He's quite
Which is
he's quite
unusual.
an intuitive kind of character.
Aye.
A wee bit of an enigma.
Mm-hmm. He is.
People say to me at the gym, they're like, is James pissed off at me? I'm like, how? Like, he's not really speaking to me. Doesn't really speak to me. I'm like, mate, I've been one of his best pals for nearly 20 years and he doesn't speak to me. Do you know what I mean? So, aye, 21 years to go.
Flying.
It will fly, but I don't think it's maybe a bit boring for like people listening, but I don't think they want people doing jobs like any length of time now. Like, it's not like the same vocation it used to be in big pensions and that. It's like, high turnover. I mean, I don't think they want to pay. All these government bodies must be similar, I think.
I try and filter people away.
Aye, as you used to get guys that were in the job for life. As I think there's maybe people come and do a few years and go elsewhere now, which I don't think is a good thing, but maybe that's the way the world's going. Don't really know.
Surely you want skilled people in these jobs rather than just having new guys.
Experience as well, eh? Like, and if you've got somebody like you who's done it for years, somebody new starting, you go, no, do this.
Oh, we've got real problems with that. I think my brother's in the fire service as well now, and he's quite a clever guy and like been on the tools and stuff and worked as an engineer. So, but he's only been in the fire brigade 6 years. So he sometimes thinks there's some old guys in the fire brigade been a long time that aren't actually that good. And I'm like, experience in the wrong hands is worth nothing, but experience in the right hands is worth loads, you know. But that's the same in any, it's the same as any industry, isn't it?
True.
Your first UFC fight versus like how many you've done.
I know, I don't even know how many I've done. Maybe like 10.
It's different, though, isn't it? So like your first maybe bad car crashes you're talking about versus
now
40, 50.
Aye.
Like,
I suppose there's going to be
I've been in more than 40 or 50. I'm just saying, like when you get to your 50th, but you still switch on though.
Aye.
Obviously, like you still switch on, I think.
It's going to take a bit to shock you, is what you're meaning.
Aye, definitely. Aye, so 19 years.
I guess we'll come to the end of this one. I was talking about you. You're not welcome to, you want to do the fights this
Hang
weekend?
about if you want.
No, use crack on with the.
We were going to do it as a 3:14 breakdown. We just get caught up in your stories, mate.
Aye, no. Use
good.
Use crack on. Aye, cheers for coming. Let me come
It
on.
was a pleasure, mate.
We don't need to let you. You just turn up if you want.
Aye.
Anytime you're free, just pop in, shoot the shit with us.
I think because Mark Ewan was like, if Danny goes on, I'll listen.
He did say that.
Aye, which is to be fair, that's a bit of kudos thrown my way. To be fair,
So I appreciate it, and you kind of get him on social media. If you want to hang about with Danny, then he runs.
Set fire to your house. Set fire to your house.
He does jiu-jitsu on a Tuesday.
no, Wednesday
Wednesday
night,
night.
Saturday morning.
There you go. Come along at a higher level, hang out with him. He's got get some good part.
Yeah, boy.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
Keep it high.
Cheers.